Welcome to our ninth episode of Background Bites. I'm your host, Jack.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Joseph.
Before we hop into speaking about Mulan, uh,
Yay.
Mr. Joe, you'll be giving us a synopsis, correct?
That's correct.
If you are
Wait.
once again one of the 10 people who have never
Yeah.
seen Mulan.
Yes.
I would say there might be a few more people that haven't seen Mulan. I don't know.
Okay, 12.
For me, it's not quite as iconic as some of the others. But the general idea is that we're in some generic period of time in China where the Huns are trying to invade, and because they're trying to invade, the emperor calls up a draft, effectively a draft, where a man from every family has to join the army. Except the problem is that in Mulan's family, her father, who had been in a previous war and got injured, doesn't have any sons, so it's just Mulan, and which actually kind of works out well for her because Mulan doesn't fit in with all of the various girly activities that she's supposed to be good at. She gets routinely put down by the matchmaker lady for being basically incompetent at everything feminine, and so she cuts her hair, steals her father's sword and clothing, and goes off to join the army. And then we get some shenanigans of her maybe almost being found out, maybe not being found out, but gradually earning the respect of the men. We have an excellent song about making men out of all of these random fools that are lying around, and then they go off to go fight the Huns, and they end up defeating them by Mulan basically attacking the mountain and causing an avalanche to kill them all, except she doesn't kill them all. Some of them survive, but before we find out some of them survived, the army does find out that she's actually a girl because she got injured, and the medic looks her over, I think, is how that happens. And then they're all like, "Oh, we liked you before when we thought you were a guy, but now that we know that you've been lying to us, we don't like you for some reason. I don't know. Something about lying to us has made us dislike you."
Woman alert.
She gets kicked out. She goes back home, and then she doesn't go back home. She realizes that there are some of the Huns are still alive, and then she follows them back to the palace, and some more shenanigans ensue, and then eventually she's able to defeat the leader of the Huns, save the day, gets honored by the emperor. I think he bows to her, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we have to bow to her." And then she brought honor to her family, but not in the way she was supposed to. I think that's the plot, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty straightforward. I guess I'll just jump into it. Love
Just
how
get right
Let's just jump into it.
just jump into it. I do love how during the first act of this film, while you so you definitely get some serious moments. It's pretty much your straightforward mix of drama, comedy with songs mixed in, your traditional Disney film, right?
Mhm.
And then it's not until they abruptly stop singing "A Girl Worth Fighting For" when they come upon the burnt village that the film basically goes, "Okay, no more songs. We're at war, and we don't get another song for the rest of the movie."
No, that's true.
Because
We
it
don't.
turns from a Disney movie into a military epic almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very different, and that's something I think that really makes Mulan stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the back half of the movie I enjoy. I don't enjoy the front half of the movie. I enjoy the songs. I enjoy obviously "Make a Man Out of You" is a great song. Everyone loves "Make a Man Out of You," right?
Yep.
We'll
just say right now, best song in the movie.
Yeah, well, hands down, obviously. Easy call.
Yeah.
But I feel like this movie is a worse version of Pocahontas, which is itself a worse version of Little Mermaid.
Whoa! Shots fired. I would not go there.
Yeah,
Ew,
okay.
Hot take of the evening.
Okay. I mean, maybe I have a different opinion, but I do not. I mean, it's not a problem. Like I said, the back half of the movie is fine, but the opening part of it is like, okay, it's exactly the same, right? We have the girl who doesn't fit in with the place that she's growing up in, and she has problems with her dad because she doesn't fit in with the place she grows up in, and then she goes and does the rebellious thing, and then the rebellious thing that she does ends up saving the day, right? That's all three of those movies, right?
It's bare
It's the detail.
bones, but we are missing what is it? I suppose Mulan. Well, first of all, I mean, we could talk about art style later, but I like Mulan's art style a little better than Pocahontas, despite it.
Oh, sure,
Know,
sure.
Yeah.
it's a little less
Plus,
generic.
keep in mind, Mulan easily for Disney princesses easily has the highest body count. Easily.
That's true. Like, look, once we get to the actual war stuff, right? Once we get through the training, once we get through all of the like silly humor of her maybe being found out, maybe not, and her pretending to be Ping and all that stuff, which very much annoys me. I hate when she's trying to pretend to be Ping.
I find it very funny, but it might have just been that I grew up with it and watched it a lot. I find her pretending to be a man and her interactions with the other people at the camp, especially like the three guys, I find that very amusing. But
see, I don't like cringe, so. And
okay, there is one scene I can agree that might be close to cringe, like the very first where she's like stuttering over her name and Mushu's like whispering in her ears, like just all right, yeah, get on with it. What is it? I think they break it up enough with good moments of. I mean, I suppose "Make a Man Out of You" is the character development song because it shows her actually using her wits to overcome all these challenges, which really is endearing, of course. So I suppose I just packed all that away, and it's just like, all right, let's get the good stuff, and they deliver on that good stuff.
It's one of those things where I don't like the way this movie starts. Just I don't know, something about it rubs me up the wrong way. I don't know what exactly it is, but
it's probably that lucky cricket for messing up Mulan's chances with the matchmaker. The lucky cricket's kind of the worst.
Lucky cricket. I mean, also, I don't think Mushu is as funny as some of the other sidekick characters we've had in Disney Renaissance movies have been.
All right, dude. Now you've officially crossed the line.
Too far. I love Mushu, but
okay. Well,
I suppose he has an acquired taste.
I will accept. Also, it is fair. In fairness, I don't think I watched Mulan as a child. I don't think I watched Mulan until I was already an adult. So
okay.
Whereas, like Hercules and Lion King is just a masterpiece. Hercules I watched over and over again as a child. So if it could be in a position where with the one that you watched over and over again as a child you love, and I never did. So
yeah, that's possible. I mean, when it comes to Eddie Murphy's animated roles, Donkey is probably better objectively, but I do think Mushu is still very funny.
Mr. Murphy, tell me, what is the best thing you voiced in an animated movie? Could it be the dragon or the donkey? I've done things other than that, right? It's like, no.
Nope, no, you haven't.
Afraid not.
I mean, I think that I would assume, unless you guys are thinking of one, those are probably his two most iconic animated voice roles, right?
They really are. It's just funny that it's like, listen, you have two choices, two animal choices. It's just, if I had a nickel, I'd have two nickels, and
right.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's well done, and it's a good example of how to present a strong female character without getting all up in the audience's face about it.
Oh, definitely, because it presents the strong female character as strong in her own way rather than stronger than a man. It's like,
it presents her as a strong woman, not strong because she's a woman.
Yeah, it's also it presents her as strong abstractly, not strong in the sense of I can crush rocks with my teeth or something.
Right, exactly. No, not like that.
Like,
if anything, that's the shortcomings of literally every other soldier in the army.
Yeah, that is. You see, these are the parts of the movie that work. The parts of the movie that work is when she's at the end of Make a Man Out of You, when she realizes that when the captain said, these are the things you need the weights that he gives them to
discipline and strength.
Yeah, discipline and strength. You need discipline and strength to get to the top. And she's like, oh, wait, no. These aren't things that are pulling you down. These are tools that you need in order to figure out how to get up to the top. Right. That's the strongest point of the movie. Like that, when she figures that out, and then when she sees we don't have enough cannons or whatever they gunpowder dragon things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have enough of them to take out the army. Why don't I use the one we have to take out the army in a creative way? Those are the things that are like, those are.
She's got street smarts.
Yeah, exactly. She knows how to solve a problem, which is great. I love that.
Yeah.
that's why I said the second half of the movie. I don't know if Make a Man used the halfway point or not, but that from that point on, that's where it's good.
Close enough.
Yeah.
I would say that's at least 2/3 then. So technically, you actually do like this movie. Ha!
Sure.
Nailed
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, and of course there's the thing at the very end where what is it? The other I never can remember their names, but they really are the best. The three dudes.
Yeah.
What is it? The three dudes kind of take after her, and they're able to save the emperor by thinking outside the box. And
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Mm-hmm. I think the humor in this film works very well. I mean, for a film focused mainly on war, I found there were a lot of funny moments in this film.
Although that actually would be appropriate, right? Because that's how people deal with war, right? Is dark humor. Although it isn't dark humor. It's just like it's more
just humor.
Silly, but yeah, humor in general is how people deal with war and other dark things. So actually, pretty well.
Yeah, as I said, there probably wouldn't have been a better way to balance it out. Is the best way to put it. It's just like, yeah, if you want to tell this story, it's like, yeah, you can't go full serious because that's how we got Pocahontas.
Yeah, I mean,
with the exception of a raccoon.
Yeah,
the sole comic relief.
Yeah, so it's like instead of having a fully serious story and then halfway through you have a clown show up on the middle of the screen to throw a pie at the screen, right? Like, oh, like it's too serious. We're going to break it up with some nonsense and then go back to the serious stuff. We instead say we're going to tell a serious story, but we're going to have goofy, ridiculous people who are the characters in the serious story.
Wait, hold on. Goofy's in this movie?
No.
This is not a goofy movie.
This is not a goofy movie.
Oh, when are we doing a goofy movie?
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Please one day. Anyway,
I do like the whole dynamic she has with her dad and how, at the end she thinks, the way that she's going to receive honor, because that's the whole thing she's going after, is by presenting these, physical things of honor, like the sword and all of that. She presents those to her father, hoping that through those gifts he will accept her. But you realize that all along she's all that's mattered to him, and so he just goes right for the hug, pushes all the gifts aside. It's good stuff.
That's one of my favorite moments.
So, I think the only other thing, unless you guys have other things you want to mention, only the thing we need to cover is: did the main character learn anything?
I got something, but let's cover the learning thing first, because this is a resounding yes.
I don't.
Is it? Really... Please explain, because I feel like she pretty much stays pretty static throughout the most of it, but I could totally be wrong.
Now, she stays static in the sense that her ideals are the same, in the sense that she's a brave person willing to do this, to bring honor to her family, to do stuff like that. But she definitely learns that she cannot do it in the traditional sense. I suppose it's like, because in the end, she does have to learn to use the weights, after a lot of failing. It was the whole first half of Mega Man IU is all of them failing, including Mulan. And then, at the very end, she realizes, I have to use this part of me to, overcome this challenge. And then, it's just, I suppose, she does learn by doing that, and by accepting that she can't exactly match a man, but she can still be just as competent, yes, just as competent, if not more, in her own way. I would consider that growth.
Fair.
But,
yeah. I would say there is growth, but I don't think, like, for me, we way back at the start of this, we said that Ariel doesn't learn anything in Little Mermaid, right? She doesn't learn a lesson. She learns that Ursula is evil, right? She learns that you probably shouldn't make bargains with sea witches,
right?
And that isn't the right way to approach a situation. But I think when we've been doing what I've been thinking of is, have they learned something? Have they realized that their way of approaching the world is wrong and they have to change that? right? That's what all the other characters who learn something have done.
That's like all the other characters in Mulan learn, basically.
Yeah, all the other characters learn something. Basically everyone except for Mulan learns something.
Yeah,
in Mulan.
but Mulan, what is it? Mulan's trying to be essentially the perfect wife at first, and she's just not doing too well. I would say she wouldn't learn if she's just like, I don't want to be that. I don't even want to try to impress the matchmaker. I just said, but kind of like the 2019 one. It's just like, it's like if she didn't even try, it's like, okay, yeah, she's always like this. But she's in her own way, she's trying to fulfill these standards. But then she realizes she doesn't have to, I suppose.
I guess this is one of those things where it's like, how are you looking at it? Because for me, it seems like whatever is put in front of her, she says, okay, this is the thing I need to do, and I'm going to be as good at it as possible, right? So when she thinks the only possible thing she can be doing is be a wife, she's like, okay, the thing that I'm going to do is try to be a good wife and impress the matchmaker, and she happens to be bad at it, right? She's really bad. Her best isn't good enough, right? And then when she says,
I still blame the cricket, but you can keep going.
I mean, shenanigans also ensue, but
right,
like her best isn't good enough within the context of the movie, and then she's like, oh, another option has presented itself. This is something else I can try to excel at. But she still has the same mindset, right? She still has the same philosophy of whatever is in front of me, that is the thing I'm going to work at trying to make happen. And then she does it. She fails at being the big macho tough guy, but she's like, okay, what's a different way that I can approach this situation and still accomplish my goal, which hasn't changed? And that's what she learns to be clever, right? And then that's what goes forward in each of those things. But I don't really think it's not you have the wrong way of looking at the world, you need to learn a better way. That's you have the right way of looking at the world. You're just looking at problems that aren't the problems that you are supposed to be solving, which is a different thing than, I guess maybe it's a different kind of learning.
That sounds like growth with extra steps, but I do kind of see where you're going.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think we handled that. You said there was something else you were going to mention, Joseph.
Oh yeah, of course. I gotta bring it up because it's kind of my thing. In addition to, it's other stuff, not animation. What is it? In like the regular episodes, my big thing is behind the scenes stuff. I almost said background stuff, but no, that's what we do now.
That's here, yeah.
Yeah, behind the scenes
what we're doing right now.
Of course, I have to bring up the very, very good voice cast. Yeah, air horns. Yep, Ming Na Wen, of course, as Fa Mulan. She's just one of the best character actresses out there. Just, I don't know if this is what put her on the map, but it's definitely what I know her for. In addition to being Melinda May in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yep.
And of course, Eddie Murphy. Everybody knows Eddie Murphy. He's good. He's good there. I don't think there are any non-notable performances really, because what is it? The ones that stand out, of course, are the three dudes. Yao, of course, is hilarious. The King of the Rock. And then, of course, we got just little, not really cameos, but just a lot of notable, Asian American actors, like James Hong. He's been in near about everything. He was the Emperor's, not the Emperor's, was it as Lee's scribe or whatever, the guy who shook the Emperor's hand, and then there's that picture of him pointing at him.
Right.
That. I just love him and everything he's in. He's great. But yeah, another wonderful just casting choice. Much better than, what was the last one we did? I can't help but think, but the last one we didn't really have too many standouts.
Was the last one we did Hercules?
Oh no, I must have been thinking of the one before that, which was Pocahontas, right? Oof. Maybe I'm just thinking of Pocahontas because it got bad.
It was that.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Still, again, more standouts. Very cool. Just wonderful. A lot of good singing voices too. A lot of Disney favorites in terms of singing voices. But yeah, that's kind of all for me.
Yeah, pretty good cast all around. Yeah, good songs as always. How about you, Joe? Anything else you want to add before we close it out here?
No, I mean, I understand that I have the controversial opinion, so I won't offend your guys' sensibilities anymore.
How kind.
And it could just be a matter of taste. It could just be that this
It's true.
So, or a matter of not having a bunch of nostalgic childhood memories.
Yeah.
So,
I forget. Do we do ratings for these?
I don't think we've been doing ratings for the
I-
Bites.
I don't know either.
Okay, then I won't worry about it. So
It's been
Alrighty.
so long.
it has been a while.
We just can't remember.
It's been a
Been a
long
while.
time.
Oh,
we're two different ways.
no.
Two different songs. All right.
Stop it.
All right, that's probably all we can do.
We're done here. Cut it.
All right.
Cut it.
Thanks for listening to Background Bites, and we will see you next time for our final one where we cover Tarzan.
Woot woot.
Yeah.